and push it in. And just, with see the way these siege tanks are played, man. And I'm sorry, guys, I know I'm probably harping on it too much, but I mean, it's such a centerpiece of Terran right now. The fact that you can just move the tank to a better spot, it's crazy.
Well, it definitely changes up the way the game is going to be played from here on out. That is for sure.
Do you think Dark can come back, man?
I don't know. That first game kind of showed me a bit of, I don't know, lack of confidence. If he was going to go for that kind of roach timing as well, like he didn't even take the golds, which I feel like would have helped out in the aggression. But he kind of like put on a little bit of pressure and then droned up a bit. It was kind of for me.
GSL. Let's see what happens. This is game number 2. Gumiho against Dark in the GSL CodeA. In the bottom left, in the blue, the Tau Terran.
MVP 치킨 마루 구미호.
Is that their sponsor, Chicken Maru?
Yeah, it is. They've got a little patch on their jerseys too.
In the upper right, in the red.
SK텔레콤 T1 다크.
Dark having a bit of a rough game in that last one. I mean, what I really knew Dark for in the past was just his amazing ability to macro up and just outplay his opponents all over the map. But that game coming out in game number 1, I mean, I get it. It's a 2-player map. He wants to put on the pressure early, but that just didn't look like the old Dark to me, man.
Here's Shoya. He's a coach now.
Yeah. He's upgraded his jacket from just a jersey jacket into a nice, I don't know, business jacket. Nice blazer.
Kind of like business casual, like you're a business guy, but then you got a date afterwards. You got that nice trench coat you throw on over it.
Yeah. I think he's wearing a tie, too.
He's wearing a tie,
he is. He's try-harding a little bit.
He's almost a caster at this point in time with his tie on there, man.
Well, he needs a thicker jacket for that with some dandruff on it, like we've got here.
Yeah, these big white flaky blazers we got on here.
Well, at least they're keeping us warm. It was snowing earlier, actually. It was pretty cold.
I'm going to give you some inside scoop, viewers and Valdez, my buddy, is the attire of casters, the history of attire that we have not figured out yet, but like, we started out at GSL, and Dan and me would wear blazers and T-shirts, and part of that was because we were selling T-shirts for a website that we were running at the time. And then eventually we got down to some events, and they're like, okay, well, now you got to we want you to wear a blazer and a button-up. And then, then there was periods where casters had to wear ties.
Yeah.
And now it seems like the general consensus on foreign esports events is blazers with button-ups with the top button unbuttoned. If you go back and look at this, there's actually, there's been a rotation of this.
Yeah, it's kind of gone from about as casual as you can get for a professional broadcast into as professional you can get with outside of wearing a tuxedo. And then coming back here to a bit more casual.
Or if you're at the GSL and it's whatever the makeup lady picked out for us that season. We come in and I'm like, all right, well, that's what I'm wearing.
Yeah, we got to wear these jackets for the whole season now.
Yeah, that's
Do you guys get new jackets every season?
You bet your ass we do,
man. That is crazy,
we are
man.
Ballers down here. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. New undershirts, new ties, new blazers, new whatever the fluffy thing is in the pocket. I'm not sophisticated enough to know what that is.
Little chest napkin or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Handkerchief.
You guys don't know this, but I wear a girdle underneath the blazer. That's why I look so thin and with it.
That's Tasteless's secret.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here first.
That's right, guys. It's my beauty secret right here. Oh, my God. What? He saw the Roach Warren.
That is unbelievable.
Peekaboo, nerd.
He gets by the Speedlings and the Queen. Kind of a mix-up with the micro there from Dark, so he knows the exact timing of that Roach Warren. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Well, he's going to come up here with the Hellions now. I don't know if he's going to be too aggressive with this or if he's just poking in. One Queen at the ramp, not enough to block him off if he does try to dive in.
Yeah, he doesn't even stick around. He's like, yeah, I could do a bit of poke damage to that hatchery, but it just doesn't matter.
I do wonder if we'll still have a maybe something like a Nidus at some point in time around here. I'm not entirely sure. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we've got 3 gases taken, Roach Warren, Lair about to finish. It definitely looks like it could be Nidus coming up here, but scouting that Roach Warren is pretty nice for Gumio. It's like the first step in getting some of that information.
Now, the Liberator can come behind the main base and start to harass, but we already see that this has been preempted by Dark. He now has a Sport Crawler out on the edges to try to drive that away. Dark actually gearing up for the late game here with double Evolution Chamber.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's going to be anything too early on. Droning up pretty heavily from here as well. No more units coming out. And just going to try to come in here, scout exactly what Gumio's doing. He sees the third base, a bunch of barracks, everything looking pretty normal.
And this should be one of our longer games, actually. They're both gearing up for the late game here. We have some Hellions coming in here. Really nice surrounding by Dark. These Hellions really not able to optimize like they would like to.
Yeah, it was just some really nice stutter step micro out of the Lings by Dark to do that damage without just chasing for most of the time. We are going to see the range upgrades come out of here for Dark. Going to be going for a Roach-centric composition. Try to go Roach Ravager, of course, instead of that Ling Bane Muta, as we used to see all the time in this matchup.
And the Sport Crawlers are finishing up, making sure that this is not going to be an area that can be harassed with ease. Good job there by Dark. And Dark now going to take his 4th base, and this can be the trigger point for Terran to begin to attack into the Zerg.
Yeah.
And that's a general rule, guys. As I know we got a lot of newbies that are watching, even though everybody in chat is probably at least Grandmaster. I know that there are people at least
rank 200 Grandmaster.
But if you guys just want some really basic rules for how to learn StarCraft, I mean, it's generally if you're keeping up, you're spending your money, it's a good time to attack while the player is in the middle of expanding, because that means they've invested some of their capital into making this base, but they haven't reaped the benefits of having that base yet. And so this is sort of a general rule, and we're seeing it being applied now as Terran pushes out. And nice job taking out those Liberators and almost making Terran look foolish for even trying to go in there. One thing that you might want to note, whenever you're using those Liberators against the Ravagers, spread them out for that exact reason.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, you cannot bunch them up like that and expect to do well against that many Ravagers. Dark was really well prepared to defend this 4th base. And in fact, these Hellbats should all be cleaned up before he gets to the 4th base. And at the same time, this drop is being totally cleaned up.
Dark is just eating this nerd.
Yeah, he's eating him, man. This is what I expected to see out of Dark in game number 1. But I think he's going back to his roots a bit here, just sitting back, defending, playing that macro style.
Because that's what I always think of when I think of Dark, is sort of absorbing these blows and actually growing, expanding off of them like he's the Blob or something.
Yeah, eating them.
Did you ever see the Blob? Did you ever see the Blob?
No, I never saw the Blob.
Why? You never saw the Blob?
Yeah.
Why? Is that just because like you're young and stuff? How old are you? What are you like? You're like 16?
I was born in 91.
Oh, you're born in 91? All right.
Yeah, 16, exactly.
Tasteless rolls with kids, guys. Wait, how I don't want to do math on TV.
I'm 24.
You're 24?
Yeah, 24.
The Blob is an old movie. I don't know if they ever remade that.
Yeah. I missed a lot of those old movies. I'm gonna have to get to watching that. There's a lot of those movies I gotta get to.
Brandon, let's not lie to all these people. You're never gonna watch The Blob, man. All right, we got an attack coming up here. Remember, Terran lost a good amount, and that makes this Zerg attack actually a lot scarier. Right now, we see Gumio doing a great job defending. With that, the setup of those depots, reinforcements coming in here, possible surround, but so many Roaches dealing so much damage.
With the little that Gumio had left here to defend, he's actually doing a really, really nice job defending this. Unfortunately, we do have a lot more on the way here from Dark. A huge swell of Roaches that are now burrowed, trying to get on top.
Can we get a scan here? I think actually Dark once again overextended. And I got to say, even when I'm watching some of these battles, I'm like, oh, Dark's got this, man. And then I see the actual aftermath of it, and yeah, I mean, he's way overextended. You can see he has not quite felt out this very new and different expansion for StarCraft 2.
Well, at the same time, the micro from Gumio was really on point. He made one tank work wonders for him in that defense. He kept it alive the entire time, and that really helped out with this huge wall that he had at the front, as you were mentioning before. So Dark did not saturate that fourth base. He's got a lot of drones, but he's got to transfer them over. He was really just concentrating on that attack, and it didn't quite go as well as he had planned.
This is just really nicely done here by Gumiho for defense. Now, if you notice overall, though, Dark is very close to maxing out. And you can do that with this kind of Roach Ravager style where you just have this big, beefy army. But, you know, sticking with Roach Ravager throughout the game can usually be a mistake if you're going to try to hang on to that for too long. Since the Roaches take up so much supply. Doesn't this look funny? Look at this.
Forgot to burrow his other Roaches. There you go, Dark. He heard us making fun of him.
That's so funny because if you were to even see that for a second, you'd be like, what? Is he right-clicked on his broed Roaches? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, man. Oh! Oh, what? Okay, so he's not going to engage it. He's going to go around it. He's going to go around it. It's okay.
The day is saved. And these Roaches are going to get right on top of the reinforcements that Gumiho had coming out of his production facilities, and going to get to work here.
Gumiho's not going back. He's not going back at all. Gumiho's just going to just dive in here, man. He is balls to the wall, and he's doing this without much of an expansion right now.
Yeah, he's lost all of his mining at his third, and now Dark able to get on top of these tanks, but really nice micro there to pull back the tanks. But is it going to be enough?
What are these Roaches doing? This makes my brain hurt.
They've got to be doing something. They're going to come back and try to defend, but I feel like Gumiho already got a really nice position
well, this
here.
is just like the sequel, except the sequel's a little bit more action-packed, but it's not as good as the original Game 2 compared to Game 1. Oh my God. Now, there's 22 Roaches about to hatch. But this is so weird. This is like the same thing as Game number 1.
Look at this. The Roach is finally coming back here, but he's lost his hive, and there's nothing to deal with the Medivacs. He can just float away. In the meantime, he did lose his third, failing to lift that, it looks like.
Oh, that's okay. He's got extra command centers. He's got a couple of them lying around, man. They're in the storage shed in the back of his base.
Looks like he actually did lift it into the main. That was my mistake. So he is going to retake his third, and he's already done so much damage to Dark.
What is this game? I mean, it's funny because this is StarCraft 2, Tasteless. No, seriously, like this is such a funny looking game. Game 1 and Game 2. I mean, it's. You can see Dark has this idea, right, that he can counterattack, and a lot of turns will turn around. But clearly, Gumiho has calculated somehow that it's fine.
Yeah, well,
if he doesn't go back and defend, because the Stim Marines deal damage so quickly.
He got way too far across the map to come back and defend, and he did have some defensive units. He lost a lot of them pretty early on, but he was able to just lift off from his third and essentially say, okay, I'm going to do more damage to you than you're going to do to me. And he effectively did do that damage. He took out the hive, took out the natural as well. Dark he has built it now. He has rebuilt that natural. But the upgrades are way, way far ahead here for Gumiho, and he's beginning to put on the pressure once again.
Yeah, he can take out a lot of drones up here. And you know, this is really just keeping Dark stapled here. He can't come back. Roach is coming up here, but he needs to move that before the Ravagers get over there in time. One thing we haven't highlighted yet is the worker count. It's 54 for Dark and 32 here for Gumiho. So as much as we're praising Gumiho, Dark does have the engine that's stronger, that's going to allow him to produce more.
I mean, Gumiho at this point, he's got 4 orbitals. He can easily deal with his economy loss by just having a much better, larger, and more upgraded army. I think Gumiho's just going to max out here and just push across the map.
Yeah, just try again.
Yeah.
Problem is, Gumiho is, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering maybe Dark can try to counterattack again here.
Gumiho is sitting back, making a sensor tower.
This is smart.
I don't know. He's got such a massive advantage right now in terms of his army. He's kind of missing out on it.
But that's why he wants the sensor tower, is so that as he's moving out, if the Zerg Insta tries to run into his base, it's a little bit
for
trickier.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was just worried that he was going to sit back here and try to take more bases.
No, I think for sure he's going to push. See, he's coming out now.
This is going to be nice. It looks like he may come from 2 different angles. He's got a drop going around the side to attack some of those new expansions while dropping into the back door and at the same time pushing out of the creep with a small group of
This is
Marines.
a really good spot to hit too. I mean, remember these roaches, they're not that mobile here. I mean, this ramp is a big funnel. Whoa. Like with that sexy placement, did you see that? That was so totally perfect.
Yeah,
oh my
that
God,
was awesome.
He's gonna get the Roach Warren, dude. He's gonna get the Roach Warren inside the back of that base. Oh my God, Gumiho, this is the Gumiho I love to cast, guys. He's just everywhere.
He's attacking 3 different locations at the same time. Gonna get that backdoor base. Really nice fungal here to delay some of this, and at the same time he has stopped the mining at Gumiho's only mining base right now.
Yeah, that's true. Gumiho with not a lot of income right now.
And he's slowly
More Marines
falling
coming
behind.
up here, and I don't know why these tanks are picked up, but it'd be good if he dropped them.
He's slowly falling behind an army supply, of course.
Okay, so hold on. There's 4 hatches remaining for Zerg, 3 bases that are being mined from due to stuff like those Marines we saw over there. One of those hatches is nearly dead. Gumiho does manage to reclaim his base. And by the way, Gumiho nearing max out at 184, but unfortunately unable to really attack into his opponent because if he leaves his base, the drops continue. Gumiho in a base trade going to beat Dark every time.
Yeah. Gumiho, I think, desperately needs to redrop that weakened hatchery you were talking about. That was being made into a lair. And now the hive, so all it takes is a couple of drops to go over there. Dark doesn't have the best Overlord spread to spot this or the creep spread. He's going to come, it looks like, into this base over here first and just deal with the mining drones.
Still a drone lead here for Dark, but I'm sure you guys are seeing it the same as we are. I mean, pretty much every base is being harassed so hard. Gumiho's really holding his own. Now we have this counter push coming up. Note that there is no counter-attack army here for Dark. He doesn't. Oh my God! Fungal of the year. Look at that. Are you serious?
That could just be game.
Yeah.
Look at all the corrosive piles that now come down, and the entire army
How
of
many
Gumiho goes
Marines
down.
was that? That was so sick.
That's all it takes, man. It doesn't matter what kind of upgrades you have.
The maximum number possible to get into a fungal. We've now seen it.
Yeah. Literally. And at the same time, Gumiho's trying to drop and trying to stay in this one, but his army has been severely crippled from that play.
He's going to drop again over here in this expansion, but already, Dark is just ready for anything he's got to throw at him.
Yeah. And now we do have that hive remade, an Ultralisk Cavern on the way with more infestors. And I feel like if Gumiho cannot kill Dark very, very soon, the Ultras are going to pop out, and Gumiho is going to have a really hard time of dealing with those. So.
And I mean, with the Ultras out here, and Gumiho not having any kind of SimCity defense and his expansion, man, I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, he should just get rolled, you know?
Yeah, for sure. We'll see if he does decide to set that up. I'm not even sure if he knows that the hive has been made here for Dark and that Ultras are on the way, because that's a really crucial piece of information that he needs right now.
Yeah, he might be able to assume Ultras are back in style by quite a bit in Legacy of the Void, but I mean, this could happen to you if you're not paying close attention. You get these powerful, mega techs like Ultras, and they can blindside you because they all come out at once. You can stand if you want to, Val.
No, my audio just
Did your audio
going crazy when I did that? So I'm gonna take a seat. That's the GSL studio telling me to take a seat right now, Tasteless.
I'm standing because my back's hurting, man. Because I'm.
That's
By the way, Valdez, I have internet in my house again.
Oh, that's good.
This is very good. I'm sure you guys heard in the last cast I don't have internet, and that was just horrible. Like I've always wanted to time travel, but not anymore. Not anything past the 90s because I could go back and see the dinosaurs and then realize that there's no Wi-Fi anywhere in the Stone Age. So I got my internet in my house. That's great. I can play games again. Life is good, guys.
Yeah.
Just a little moment I wanted to share with you. Another drop over here, and he actually could get that bottom center base pretty effectively.
He's drawn the entire army up towards the north. Looks like there is one awkward Ultra who's actually in a perfect place to defend here with some roaches.
Kind of surprised he didn't drop at that gold base earlier. He might not have been micromanaging his army at that point in time. Stimming, and it looks like he might try to gun down that Ultra before the rest of his Marines are taken out. There's actually so much going on in this game. By the way, there's a Spire coming up here for Zerg, and that could be a bit of a problem for Terran. Zerg has a lot of gas banked. Zerg is nearly maxed out. One thing that good Zergs do to win, especially when you get into like the end game, they will they'll finish all possible tech trees, and what they do is they throw their entire army at you, and as you're killing it off, they switch the tech. They switch their unit composition to something totally different. They throw that at you, and what happens is whether you're Terran or you're Protoss, you're constantly having to adjust to match whatever Zerg's pulling up.
Yeah, I mean, a Zerg that gets onto 4 or 5 bases in the past and just has unlimited amounts of resources is probably the scariest thing in the way.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Probably the scariest thing in the game. And look at this. 4 spines in waiting. And he just barely saves
saddest
that.
medevac I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Gumiho doing a good job, by the way, cleaning up the creep here in the middle of the map. We're not at this phase where Zerg is really... well, I thought we were going to be there by now, but I guess not. Where Zerg can really be aggressive and attack in because medevacs are such a problem. They're so fast and mobile. And sure, you can fungal them, but it's not really that easy, as we all know, especially with the boost.
Yeah. Well, this attack is the one I think you were talking about, Tasteless.
Yeah, this was inevitably going to happen.
Nice targeting on some of those investors, but not really all that much left over here for Gumiho. He's just got Marines and 1 tank in the back, and all the Zerg is just overflowing this base, going to push out all the army units from that port.
This actually might be the end of the game.
Oh, the big fungals on all the medevacs. Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. So low on HP right now. This base nearly mined out. He barely takes out that Ultimus that was harassing it. Command center at a high risk of burning down as well.
GG.
And he just taps out. And to think, that was a game where Dark lost his main.
Yeah, he lost his main
crazy.
and his outdoor natural, and still was able to come back. I'm not sure about that one for Gumiho. I think at some times he was a bit too passive. He had a big advantage after he took out that main and natural, but just kind of sat back on his laurels and just waited. He didn't expand enough, too. He kind of like stood there on 1 mining base and was like...
I mean, hold on, though, man. I mean, it's hard for Terran to get many more bases than that, right? I guess you have to, but...
Yeah, I mean, at the time, Dark was building up, so I think he had the freedom. Now, of course, it's easy for me to sit back here. I'm like playing God. I see everything that's happening.
This
as
is
the
what's
observer,
happening.
You know?
This is where we casters
I'm
have
like,
gone too far.
Why didn't he just take 4 bases, Tasteless?
When we started to play God in the cast, that's when we knew the casters had gone too far. Yeah. No, I do understand what you mean, is that like he's limited on his resources. The more bases he has, the more of an army he can make. But I feel like generally Terran, if you split the map up into 4 parts and they're just quadrants, Terran almost never gets out of that quadrant if they started.
Yeah. Can definitely be very difficult,
they're like
especially
that guy
against a Zerg like Dark.
They grow up in the town their parents grew up in, and then
they start working for their dad.
They weren't working for the company.
Take over the company.
Eventually, they buy the house next to mom and dad, and they never move out. That's Terran. Terran does not go too far. Terran did not study abroad in Spain for 1 semester.
No. They sit back and sit in their base. That's all they do.
I think for Terrans in a situation like that, when you have that much of an influx of minerals coming in, you should hide a base somewhere. That's what Tasteless, who in another parallel universe was the GSL 27-time champion.
Welcome to GSL.
And they said he'd be a very good caster, but he just knew he was too good. He was too good. He had to play. That would be his take on it. All right. Game number 2 is loaded up in the upper right in the blue.
MVP 치킨마루 구미호.
Gumiho not having the same kind of dominant game he had in game number 1.
Still an impressive game, though. Bottom left in the red.
SK텔레콤 T1 다크.
Well, I was pretty confident after Gumiho took out the main that was going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge blow to a Zerg. To take out the Hive, too.
How many games do you see where the Zerg loses the Hive and then proceeds to win?
That might have been the first one.
I mean, it's
maybe
so
number
rare.
2.
Even if you talk to really good Zerg players, when they lose the Hive tech and they have to start over, it's like so weird. It's like so not what you've practiced so often.
Yeah,
so
you gotta go into that lair and then into your Hive, of course. Luckily, Gumio did not kill the infestation pit, so it made it a little bit easier for Dark. And maybe that was part of the problem. He was just too busy trying to do that damage and get out instead of totally scour the base. At the same time, Dark was counterattacking, so it's kind of hard to be at all places on the map at the same time.
Yo, man, he really stayed on that Roach Ravager for a long time.
Yeah,
I thought he was almost overdoing it, but he made it work. And
certainly did. I was always wondering if that was going to be viable, especially for Zerg versus Terran, because Lingbane Muta had been the standard for so long. Against Bioplay, of course, but now it's kind of like with the Ravagers, you got some AoE in there as well. And once you eventually get those Infestors out, the combination of Fungal and Corrosive Bile is just disgusting. If you can micro all of those units, it's unbelievable the amount of damage you can do.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. By the way, Dark this game went for a quick pool and gas, erring on the side of caution. There is always the chance that, on a map like this, Terran's going to do something sneaky to you. And so that's been pretty effectively circumvented here by Dark, just opening with a safe build.
Yeah, he's going to go for a pretty fast Roach Warren at the same time. You were talking about the safety of just trying to defend against anything Gumio could throw at him, but this could be used on the attack. He's going to get the secret intel with his Overlord that just popped in there, saw the timing of the factory, knows that the expansion is up in the back.
The Reapers could hop up once again into the main. Ling speed close to getting done. Let's see how many roaches our Zerg player decides to make. Link's, like I said, that's all wrapped up. So far, Zerg, though, seems to just be staying on drones here.
Yeah, I guess it was just a safety Roach Warren. You see one Reaper, the style that's been getting a bit more popular these days is going for a huge amount of Reapers and just trying to, do a bunch of damage to the Queens, the drones, get into your back mineral lines. Just like this, except this is a much smaller amount, just 3 Reapers for a bit of harass.
Well, he's not getting enough drone kills here to make this necessarily effective. He's only gotten 3 drone kills. And very clear. Yeah, that's
just 3.
Just 3.
Yeah. And we do see Dark making some more roaches now. I think this is just for the defense because he is making some drones at the same time.
3 is the right number that you can chase off a Hellion or anything else that's going to come at you.
You're going to need some Ravagers as well to deal with the Liberators that could eventually come your way.
Yeah, that's been a lot of the mini game early on here is Liberators coming out.
Yeah.
Now on this map, it's not as easy to set up a Liberator and hit an expansion effectively, just because of the way the minerals are placed here.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. In fact, you got to go all the way around. It looks like it may just be one Liberator to clear up some of the Overlords out on the map. The Overlords can be very effective in spotting, especially on this map, for any kind of drops that come out towards the back door. Drops can be very, very effective on this map, so getting just one Liberator out has been kind of the replacement for the Viking. That used to be that Pult Viking that used to come out and clear out over all the Overlords out on the map. You just make a Liberator instead because I feel like it has a lot more utility later on in the game.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's smart. The Liberator, although it's not the quickest unit, it has great functional roles, whether it's harassing or just helping out in a push in general. However, I think when you're playing against somebody who's going Roach Ravager, you got to be careful because the Ravager sort of hard counters what the Liberator is trying to do a lot of the time.
Especially because it takes such a long time for you to siege up the Liberator, go into that liberation mode.
Yeah.
But looks like this is actually a planned out strategy by Gumio. going to use the medevac to pick up the tanks and use that Liberator for as long as it was alive to protect.
Whenever you see micro fights or big battles in StarCraft 2, there's always a mini game for each unit engagement. Like the Baneling versus the Marine. The Baneling wants to connect to the Marine and has to do so in the most effective way possible. The Marine needs to be split and stibbed to minimize the amount of damage. But in StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void, it does seem like the mini game a lot of times with TVZ, tank medevac versus, let's say, Ravagers, which is usually where the skirmish seems to be happening. It's Corrosive Biles being shot down and Terran picking up and trying to dodge.
Yeah, you got that. You got some Queens in the action as well. Roach is trying to micro forward and backwards to poke at the tanks while they're on the ground. Stuff like that. By the way, we are having a new style coming out of Dark. He's going for melee upgrades and very fast infestors as well as a hive. So
we've seen some ultra play in late game from a lot of these Zergs. And it seems like the more comfortable they are on the map, the more likely they are to do it. And so, yeah, you're completely right. He's got some Ravagers, but those are mostly just the Roaches that were left over. A good number of Lings are being produced. And I believe we're going to see Zerg, when he gets the Hive, they get that Ultralisk Cavern, bank up on gas, and then just wake up with a ton of Ultras.
Yeah. Can definitely surprise the Terran if they're not expecting it. We are seeing a small group of units coming over here to try to pressure the fourth. Not going to work out, as Dark is more than ready. And we do see 2 infestors are already out, building up that energy.
And it does seem like Gumiho is itching to push here. I mean, his 1-1 is about to finish up, but then again, the same can be said for Zerg.
Yeah, I think he wants to just, continue to put more pressure on that fourth, but little does he know that Dark's army right now is really, really scary with these infestors. Here we go!
Oh my god, he did it again!
There it is, the Corrosive Biles coming down!
That's so powerful, so crazy. All right, 1-1 is done for both players. Just kind of makes them pretty even for the time being.
And now look at the push here from Gumiho. He's got, like, only tanks. And Dark going to try to counter that with a bunch of these Ravagers. It still looks like this may just be too much for him to deal with before he gets Ultras out. But once he gets those Ultras, Gumiho's got to hightail it out of here. He just doesn't have enough.
Let's see if he overextends or if he stays. Okay, he is out here now. A ton of Lings spilling in. And this is not a good position right now at all for Gumiho. Had he packed his bags and left a few seconds earlier, I know it would have been tough, but probably would have been a better move. He has managed to keep at least some of the tanks in that fight alive. The tanks, of course, the most powerful unit for Terran in a TVZ. It seems like in this phase of the meta, tanks, they just come out of factories. You can't get a reactor and add it to anything else.
Well,
so when you lose a tank, you have to wait for one entire factory cycle to crank that out again. So one of the little fights we're seeing that goes on here constantly is Zerg trying to just pick off as many tanks. If you pick off all the tanks and lose a good chunk of your army, you're still in better shape than if you hadn't picked off those tanks at all.
Yeah. So it looks like Gumiho is kind of reading the transition here, and in fact that scan does spot the Ultras that have come out. This composition kind of does lead to Ultras eventually coming out, so he's got to prepare with the Liberators.
And Marauders, don't forget.
Yeah.
Gotta have an answer to those. Still 3 base versus a Zerg on 3 base, but soon to be 5 bases. The center left is finishing completion, and the remake of this base we have a shot of right over here is almost done. We see drones being transferred to it now, so that should be finishing in a second. But Gumiho not gonna give up without a fight. Trying to get this army to come towards him. Important to note that they're even enough in supply. It's probably a bit ambiguous for both parties who's in fact ahead.
Dark is going to push forward now. Right as that expansion is about to complete, the Ultras coming from the left side. At the same time, Corrosive Biles going to deal with the Liberators in the sky, going to force Gumiho all the way back. But he has put a lot of pressure onto that fourth. I'm not sure what he's going to be able to accomplish here. I think he kind of has done a bit of that damage and denied a lot of mining at that fourth for a while and has to kind of regroup and go for another attack here.
Yeah, he's going to keep pressing forward. 156 to 161. The hatchery is somewhat exposed. It looks like there are going to be some reinforcements coming in here right now for Gumiho as he's going to unload his tanks. And if he can get this hatchery in time, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, Dark, in fact, is just going to give it up. He just wants to mine from one fourth base for now. And it's really, really hard on this map to defend both your fourth and fifth bases.
Oh, yeah.
So they're so spread out.
Well, it seems to be something very intentional by the map designers is that you have, in this case, the 3 potential bases, including the starting location, kind of carved out for you. But then, I mean, just look at the way this map is in fact shaped. I mean, where else would he expand? It looks like he's trying to take the bottom right. Not sure if it's going to work. Taking the center, I believe, is suicide if you're Zerg. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, I kind of like the right side. It brings all of your newer bases together, makes it a bit easier to defend. It's pretty far down to the bottom right as well. It's not super easy for Gumiho to get over to.
Seems to me like that's the only way that you can really expand on this map is Zerg, which is kind of it sort of makes it funny because Zerg always want to be expanding away from Terran. But hold up. Huge attack coming down here again with the fungals. 2 great fungals. Corrosive Vials being shot out here, but the Terran army still hanging on.
But just by a thread. The Vipers in the mix too, helping to deal with the Liberators. Lots of parasitic bombs coming down.
By the way, not his whole army together here. It's sending them in a little bit one by one, and I don't know if this is going to be too terribly good for Dark if he keeps up this kind of execution of his strategies.
Yeah, so unfortunately not able to totally wipe out the army of Gumiho. Gumiho's fourth base is way out there. Wants to get it very close to the Zerg, but that can be punished a little bit later on here.
Note the expansion in the center right. Terran's doing that because he's already pushing, so it's going to be tougher for Zerg to attack into that area with that first having to deal with this army that's already out here pushing in.
Yeah, so now the Ultra's coming forward with just a small amount of lings, trying to get rid of a lot of these tanks, and it's actually doing a really nice job.
His stutter step micro is just too good.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Tank Marine is not very good against these heavily upgraded of Ultralists.
Well, the problem, though, is that he doesn't have enough lings with his Ultras. Ultras alone are actually just not good units. It's like, well, you guys have seen it. I mean, what you want is the lings to get in there to surround and interrupt the movement of a big ball of Terran, and then punish it that way. But if you don't have enough lings with your Ultras, they're just not going to be effective whatsoever.
Yeah, look at this, drawing all of the Marines over to the right side in a big repair onto that command center as the Corruptors do get to work there on the command center, trying to deny that planetary.
4 Liberators out here just north of where this screen is. Looks like they're debating possibly engaging in here on their own as well.
Yeah, with this heavy of a number of Liberators, we need to see more Vipers coming out, but it looks like Dark is just going to use this momentum of taking out that base and trying to put, swing the hammer here into that third. He sees a lot of units and a lot of Liberators just clogging up that spot and is just going to back off for now.
Looks like the command center is going to go down now. Nothing here to repair it, but as I say that, look at this, Liberators come in, and this is too many Liberators. There's just not enough that Dark can do. Dark going to have to back up now and cut his losses while he's still ahead.
Yep, you need Parasitic Bomb against this high of a number, this high of a count of Liberators. There's about 8, I believe, in this mix. Trying to just transfuse Corruptors for now, and it seems like it's going to work. And, in fact, Gumiho is just going to back off.
Now, if I'm Dark, I'm just going to keep trying to stop this 4th base. There's nowhere convenient to go. Top center, it looks like he's dropped Creep there, so you can't really take that. Maybe you could try hiding a base at the upper left. It might work, who knows. And then in the center right, yes, that's probably his best option, but if he can get that, he could also, at the same time, be pushing into Dark's main and killing him. So, just take that with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah, finally a drop coming in towards the back door. There is, of course, absolutely nothing back here to defend. I think Dark may have spotted it, though. Finally, some lings getting here just in time, in fact, to defend that drop.
Oh, he's coming up here now. Oh, my God, they're on hold position!
There's nothing to defend them, too.
Yeah.
Bunch of Fungals coming down now onto this small group of Marines who actually win the fight against
believe
one
it or not.
Infestor. Nothing to support that infester.
And another drop over here. 133 for Gumiho, 200 maxed out Zerg right now for Dark. Dark definitely could save up and just do a big counter attack over here to the center right and reclaim that. And that's going to put a real economic stranglehold on anything that Gumiho is trying to do.
Oh, the Ghosts, they're all alone. And even against this small of a number of Lings, they're going to get on top of these really expensive Ghosts, which are going to be so helpful against all of those Ultras. But, oh boy, losing 3 of them there. And here are the parasitic bombs getting on top of all of these Liberators. They're all going to go down. The Corruptors left remaining.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's it. I think good call there by Gumiho to tap out. I mean, you look at that, he's at 133 supply. Ultras are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're littered all over the map. Anywhere he drops, the Ultras just come in there and ram him. And I think also, especially just because of the shape of that map, there's nowhere that Gumiho can go safely after 3 bases.
Yeah. That was a really interesting build out of Dark, too. Just a quick tech up to Ultras saying, hey, I can beat you in a late game. He saw that from game number 2 as well, that Gumiho was struggling with that. You were talking about the map, how it's a bit harder on this map to expand, and that's true, but I feel like Gumiho kind of gets stuck in like old Heart of the Swarm style where it's like, oh, I just need 1 base here. And as long as I can secure that and defend it, I'll be totally fine. But it's a lot harder to defend now, and you run out of minerals on all your other bases so fast, so you're relying on this 1 base for mining, and if you lose it, you're just out of the game.
This series is reminding us of what we casted earlier here today, where we, for instance, in here we saw Gumiho win game 1, but then Dark immediately starts to download each bit from those games. And the Dark we're looking at now is very different from the Dark that was 3 games ago. This Dark has caught on to Gumiho's style.
Oh, yeah.
He's made the proper adjustments. If we were in the fighting game community, I would say he's been downloaded.
And I think you're 100% correct, Tasteless. Tried a weird build in game number 1, but now he's swinging the hammer against Gumiho.
We are going into our 4th game today. Can Gumiho turn this back, or is Dark going to close us out? With me is Valdez, I'm Tasteless, and this is the GSL. Looks like there's a fire in the upper left-hand side of the screen.
Somebody better
In
put
the
that
blue.
out.
Yeah, it looks quite dangerous.
MVP 치킨마루 구미호.
We're going to find out these are actually little SCVs inside of a pan. They're being cooked.
Oh, that would be so sad. You're inside of that metal suit and you're burning. That's like old medieval age torture right there.
That's how I'm going to go, man. Burned alive. In the bottom right, in the red, he is.
SK텔레콤 T1 다크.
So, yeah, we can't ignore this. See the bottom right or center right? That's like
That's
flames.
a lot of fire. You got to be careful.
It's got to be hot on this planet. I think that's why the drones don't wear any clothes at all, man. They're totally naked, man.
Little naked bugs doing their work.
Yeah.
Thanks
Love
to
the
Hot
GSL
Six.
flag. Look at that flag. That looks so nice.
Yeah, I actually missed the flag. I was paying attention to that really flashy warp prism. Oh, there's the flag. I see it now.
That shows you how good the Protoss is that a warp prism comes in from a different game. There's not even Protoss.
There's not
here.
even a Protoss in
But
this
their
match.
Protoss
What?
is so strong you can't count out.
You can't ignore
They just
the
invade,
strength of
they
the
invade your
Protoss.
game like it's Dark Souls. They just come in there and kill you and take your ladder points and lead. And you're like, I never knew that they could actually invade Candy
Blizzard,
Crush, but they
please.
did.
Yeah.
Command center over here. No backdoor expansion, backyard expansion. So obviously Gumiho gonna have to expand out here. And by the way, making this at the expansion versus in your main, it's a pretty big difference. I mean, he's saying that he's very confident that his opponent's not going to do anything too shady.
Yeah, I like it. It's not too hard to defend that expand as well. Not the biggest ramp, not the smallest one either, but you can get a nice SimCity around your
This is the
command center.
Goldilocks ramp, Brendan. This ramp's not too big, it's not too small. It's just right. Look at that. This whole planet, this whole base is burning. Look at there's flames everywhere. Look
Oh, God.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Overlord.
He's actually just going to do it.
He's going to do it.
Poor guy.
Whoa!
He wanted to go by fire
It's
and
not
not
that
by the
hot
gun.
after a little bit. My body gets used to it. Whoa!
I mean, the Overlord is basically just a hot air balloon, so it's probably just helping it get some more lift, right?
Yeah, it could
Get
be.
a little fire under
Then
its
it's going to float up
under
into a
its
different
balloon,
game,
yeah.
man. It's
go into the, the next day into Friday. Some other Zerg is playing.
All right, Ling's coming over here. Going to do a little bit of harass here on that SCV.
Spank it and run away. Not much else.
Not much else, man. He lives on another day.
That's a survivor SCV. Give that guy the Purple Heart. He was in a small battle, a small skirmish between him and the Zerg.
Now he's going to find out that all the Purple Hearts are reserved for casters who do solo casting. That's
oh, yeah.
Those are the real here. Those are the,
the real heroes of StarCraft 2.
Let me tell you something, man. As I get older, man, the solo casting that I have done, it gets harder and harder, man. Like one day, I think it's going to be right at 35. I'm just going to die after
You're
a solo
collapse
cast.
during a solo cast?
Yeah. It'll be like, well, Tace was doing fine until his 4th Terran versus Terran that day. He collapsed.
And the worst thing is people are probably going to think you're joking. They're just like, oh, tasteless.
Oh, tasteless. You're so funny. And I'm like up here. My heart's not beating. Nobody's checking on me. Wait, what is that? What is that? Whoa.
Carbot Zergling.
Carbot Zergling.
Look.
Whoa.
That's really
That's so cool.
That's actually really cool.
Whoa.
I love it. GSL saying, this is our map. We can do whatever we want.
I met the guy who makes Carbot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's like really cool.
Must be a really smart guy.
Yeah.
Really funny guy.
Way smarter than us, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We got a drop coming in over here, and that's going to take out this Overlord. Terran beginning to put the pressure on. I'm not sure how committed he's going to be to this. We'll see.
Well, 8 roaches popping out, but they're not out yet.
Oh, my God. He's just going to go right in there with the Hellions.
He's got a nice little concave here, taking out some of the queens already. Loses one of his medevacs.
Medevac goes down. He's going to go for the drones, though. He's going for the jugular here.
Let's see what he can do.
3 killed so far. Dark with absolutely beautiful splitting. So many Hellions here. 3 more remaining. And
a couple more hits will do it. Up to 12 kills already, and the Hellion is still out and surviving, doing some damage here. It's going to eventually go down.
10 more Lings coming up. This may be a seesaw moment in the game where Zerg has the opportunity to counterattack.
Yeah, you know, a lot of units lost there by Gumio. That was a really big commitment for him, and he lost the medevac, all the Marines, the Hellions as well. And look at this. 1 Liberator is going to go down to just 3 of those corrosive piles.
Liberator.
What does he have back at home? He has 4 Marines, and not even a bunker is out yet.
Yeah, this is a problem, man. Now he's going to back up. SCV's not mining. That's always a handy thing. And the Liberators are going to come down here. Corrosive Bile, so instantly going for that Liberator. The Liberator does go down. The Lynx, the Ravagers, the Roaches doing so much damage to these SCVs. And he's going to keep pushing forward. The tank now backing up. He needs to get that tank into a high ground, secure location.
Oh, but the Ravagers, they're coming in. He needs to get a couple of Corrosive Biles down once that does siege up, and there it is. He's going to drop them down. The repair, and the tank does go down. And still so much more Zerg streaming across the map. I don't think there's enough here for Gumio.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about. When he took the Hellions and he went directly for he went directly for the drones.
Yeah.
I mean, that means that Zerg's not losing any of his army here. Lings are still spilling in right now. And he's going to actually take out a good number of these depots. Not enough probably to supply block the Terran, but it's going to add up.
Yeah, and this may just barely not be enough to kill Gumio. Just because of this 1 tank with the medevac that's out?
I would think, even with the 1 tank out here, I think if he gets enough Roaches and Ravagers, he can just do it again, right?
Yeah, he definitely could go for a follow-up attack, and Dark seems to be that kind of player, but let's see what he decides to do. He could, you know, sit back and try to just drone up these 3 bases instead and just, you know, keep map control, try to do a bit of damage at the natural, but he's really, really far ahead either way.
Unloading a small number of Marines. He wants to see if he can kill any drones up here, anything to get him back into this game.
Yeah, well, this small of a number of Lings is not nearly going to be enough. Finally, a Roach popping out with the Queen and some Lings coming back to deny this. But yeah, Dark is just sitting back. He's going to be able to easily defend this drop now that he's brought all of his units back, and he's just droning up.
We've talked about how sometimes you can download your opponent. You just download that into his brain. But I think this guy he's actually getting torrented. I mean, that's what's actually
high-speed torrented.
It's high, yeah.
Korea high-speed internet
with Giga Internet.
Yeah, man, Giga Wi-Fi.
By the way, I got Giga Internet, man.
Yeah, man, me too. All the casters getting the Giga Internet.
Don't take this moment away from me.
No.
Just go, wow, tasteless. That's so cool. No, man, we got such good internet out here. It's so sick being in Korea.
Yeah.
It's so good. You hear that person who's not in Korea? It's so good.
Yeah. You're just like Jimmy from before. You got to be in Korea. You made the mistake of leaving.
Yeah, you didn't come.
You're missing out on all this high-speed internet.
That's right. Yeah. Terran is trying to push, but this is such a tiny ragtag push.
Yeah. He knows that he has to get damage done. He knows how far behind he is, but even so, Dark is just defending, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's just such a futile number of Terran units. I don't know how on earth he would come in here and do any more damage. Dark is going to tear down those rocks. Now, this is a better spot to push from where Terran's coming at here. This little high ground location, especially with the mobility that siege tanks now have in this game. I believe that Dark will have to concede attacking into that position for the time being.
He's going to use a Cyclone here as well just to begin poking. He's got to be really careful about that medevac. He cannot afford to lose that right now with the tank in it especially.
Oh, he's just going to go for it. Interesting corrosive bile placement there. A bit of an overextension, though. Backing up now. 6 more roaches coming, and a roach counterattack en route here as well.
So that's where Dark's units are, huh? He's going to be able, it seems, eventually to push this attack back, and at the same time, he's got a really, really big counterattack coming. No more reinforcements are going to be able to come across the map with this.
Oh, what? Gumiho, question mark, GG.
GG.
Wasn't ready for him to tap out just yet, but yeah, Dark did it. A 3-1 victory. Sick.
Really nicely done. As we said before, torrenting Gumiho and making him look silly in those last 3 games. And that's going to be our first Zerg getting past this round.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
We had 4 Terrans, Alive, Pure, Dream, and Forte, and 1 Protoss, Trap, and of course, Hero and Myungshik from the preseason. And this is going to be our first Zerg. So I'm going to actually throw it over back to Sojung so she can translate for you guys for Dark.
Welcome back.
Hello, Nick.
Good to see you.
Yep.
And I will just let you go jump right into the translating. I know they're already talking. Are they already talking to him?
I can't hear the audio right now, but I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm having the same problem. I haven't been able to hear.
Really?
Are you going to be okay translating?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we're now going to be talking to Dark.
드디어 테란 잡고 코드S에서 경기 펼치게 됐습니다.
After a long ZVT, he made it to CodeA. And Dark says, it didn't go out as well as I planned, so I'm really not satisfied at all.
God, they always say that.
Yeah. But the casters pointed out Dark is smiling. Recently, it's been told that ZVTs have been really hard for Zergs. Let's see how Dark felt about it. Well, when I practiced before coming here, I was really worried. And Gumiho is, I think, really good at tactics, movements, and I wasn't able to show what I practiced, and I was dragged along by his plays.
경기 분위기가 좋지 않았던 것 같은데 어떤 느낌이었나요? 그 경기를 뒤집기 위해서.
For a long time, it wasn't looking good for Dark. Let's see what he did to flip the game. And Dark says, if I lose this, I knew that I would lose 3-0, and I was thinking that I should not lose at all. And I was looking for the opportunity to go in.
긴박한 상황에서 상대 기지 앞에 한 1분 가까이 놀고 있었던 바퀴들이 있었어요.
And he's talking about the roaches that have been not moving at all for about a minute.
안 움직인다, 손이.
And Dark was thinking, you know, my hands aren't moving well today.
프리온당과 궤도 선수 같은 경우는 성가스하고 산란못을 지어줬잖아요. 안정적인 빌드라는 생각이 들긴
Talking about other players'
궤도
builds
선수에서
with the
사실 좀
fast gas.
최근에 뭐 고석현 선수라던가 신이범 선수가 보여줬던 빠른 땅골
Ragnarok.
한번 할 줄 알았거든요. 최근에 안 하는 이유가 있나요?
JP's asking why Dark isn't playing their styles. And Dark says, I've done that a lot, so Terrans are now ready for all those builds. So if I used that build tonight, it would have been easily defended.
이번 시즌의 목표가 있다면 한번 들어보겠습니다.
사실 제가 개인 리그와는 인연이 멀어서
I haven't been really lucky with the individual league, and I've been under a lot of stress because of that.
스트레스를 연습량으로 돌리고 있으니까 이번
But
시즌 꼭
I
우승하고
am
싶어요.
stressing.
네,
I'm
이번 시즌
making that
목표로
stress
우승이라는 말씀을 해주셨는데
go away.
자,
I've been
오늘
practicing a lot.
경기를 펼쳐내서도 많은 팬분들이 자리해 주셨거든요. 박명우 선수를
And again,
격하게
there are a lot of
팬들에게도
fans
한 말씀
tonight
해주시죠.
here at the studio cheering for Dark.
항상 진짜 응원 많이 해주시는
Dark says,
팬분들 항상
thank you. I always thank you guys.
앞으로 더 열심히
I'm always very
할 테니까
thankful.
지켜봐주세요.
So
네,
please look out for my
자,
plays.
그러면요 오늘 마지막 선물의 주인공을 뽑는 시간을
And
갖도록
now they're gonna do
하겠습니다.
the raffles
앞에
again.
추첨함을 통해서
And
선물의 주인공을 직접
I think
뽑아주세요.
I should
자,
let
뽑고난
Valdez
이후에
come in and do the
번호를
closing.
호명을 해주시면 그분에게 선물을
Valdez,
드리도록 하겠습니다.
you want to come back? You gotta come back and do the closing, buddy.
And guys, don't forget about the start tonight.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Just tell us about that again one more
Okay,
time.
I'm gonna be doing Star tonight after Friday GSL. I'm gonna be sending you guys StarCraft 2 news for this week, only in Korean, but a little bit of English, I guess. But if you guys want to see that, you guys can tune in. Stay tuned in after GSL. And after tonight, Curie will be playing with Light and Party in Arcom modes, you know, all the StarCraft 2 and with LOTV. So you guys can tune in, but that will be also in Korean. I'll let you and Valdez take it away.
Good job as always. Thanks for the translation work.
The
Dez is back.
All right,
The
I'm back.
Valdez.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I didn't know I was supposed to be back, but
No,
I'm
no,
back.
it's fine. Our format's new here. So these are our results. Hope you guys enjoyed the games. It was a good, solid, long day here.
Yeah, if I had to
Little bit under.
recommend one series, it would probably be that last one. What a crazy back and forth one that
Yeah,
was.
it was quite interesting to see that. I enjoyed that.
Kind of surprised that Forte, former Salvation, was able to take out Bravo. I would have expected Bravo to, coming into this, if I had to make a prediction, I would have said Bravo.
The games that we've casted today, I mean, this has been similar to the other Legacy of the Void games I've casted so far, but it's a little bit wonky. A little bit wonky. You can see people don't quite have their builds entirely sorted out, their timings entirely mapped out, which is normal for a new RTS.
And on Friday, we have these matchups: Stats versus Departure, Byung versus DRG Ling, and Bomber up against Seed. I believe Wolf will be covering that one.
Yep,
Stan
I'll be
is still
here.
going to be
I'll
on
be here.
vacation, and I'll be on vacation as well.
Yeah, and you are going to be casting tomorrow for
SSL.
SSL. It'll be Wolf and Brendan, Wolf and Valdez there, and then you're going to be out of town, and I'll be taking the
reins, yeah.
The
Filling in, yeah.
SSL banner, going like that and waving it around.
You take the flag.
Saving
and
esports, you put the esports flag. And
yeah, take the Tasteless flag and put it on our desk.
It's got a big T on it. It's got a beard on it.
Yeah.
Good job today. This was fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was a cool cast. We didn't take it too seriously.
No.
Had a bunch of fun.
It's always more fun
really
to have
enjoyed
fun,
it.
fun and learn. And hope this day was educational for you guys as well. With Legacy of the Void being so new, it's cool seeing all the different strats that these players are using. And as the year goes on here in 2016, I think we're going to see more and more refined play as this great puzzle that is Legacy of the Void is slowly and steadily solved.
Yeah, and we'll eventually get to see the best players rise again for this new kind of style that Legacy does need in order to be successful. This very heavy multitasking, harass kind of style. I think the game's a lot more fun. I love casting
this is a great improvement. I think it's a really good improvement what Blizzard did
I'm
here.
just
for
having
Legacy.
so much fun every time I cast Legacy. It's
and
just
the
awesome.
action picks up much more quickly. It's much more focused on actually expanding and not taking 3 bases and turtling into a death ball.
Yeah.
So that's great as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess that does it. Good job as always, Valdez. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here today at the GSL. Don't forget to tweet at AfreecaTV if you would like to see English casting of Brood War. And hopefully we'll be doing that sometime in the future. We love you guys. Take care. Tune in for SSL tomorrow and the GSL on Friday. Same time, same place. We love you. Good night.